Ever feel like you're just drowning in vape options? Yeah, you are not alone. Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and focus on two devices that are making some serious waves, the Hayati Pro Ultra and the Lost Mary Nera. Let's really dig in and see how they stack up.
So that's the big question, right? With literally thousands of puffs on the line, which one should you choose? Both of them promise to go the distance, but, they take pretty different roads to get there. By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly which one is your perfect match.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we'll get on the same page about what makes these vapes so special. Then, we'll properly introduce our two contenders. After that, we'll put them head-to-head on everything that matters, from puff count to price. Sound good? Let's do it.
Okay, so what is all the buzz about high-capacity vapes anyway? Well, to put it simply, they're in a whole different league compared to the regular disposables you might be used to. Let's break down what that really means.
Think of it like this. Instead of a device that maybe lasts you a weekend, you're getting something that could potentially last you for weeks, maybe even a whole month. And that means way less time running to the store and a lot more time just enjoying a consistent experience.
Yeah, this analogy really hits the nail on the head. You're basically upgrading from a standard, everyday battery to a high-performance one. It's about investing in something you can actually rely on, day in and day out, without that constant worry that it's going to die on you at the worst possible moment.
And now, for the main event. Let's get to know our two contenders. Both of these are absolute heavyweights in the high-capacity ring, but they have very, very different fighting styles. So, in one corner, you've got the Hayati Pro Ultra. You can think of it as the practical champion of value and just solid, reliable performance. And in the other corner, we have the Lost Mary Nera, which really leans on its brand's stellar reputation for amazing flavor while pushing the absolute limit on puff count. Two really strong but totally distinct options.
All right, let's jump right into the big number on the box, the stat everyone talks about, puff count. But as we're about to see, the biggest number, well, it isn't always the best one for you.
So right off the bat, you see a pretty clear difference. The Hayati offers a seriously impressive 25,000 puffs, but the Lost Mary Nera just blows right past it with a massive 30,000. We're talking about a 5,000 puff difference here.
There's no doubt about it, the Lost Mary Nera has a clear edge in just pure volume. For anyone whose absolute top priority is getting the maximum possible lifespan out of one single device, that bigger number is going to be pretty tough to ignore.
But, and this is the crucial part, what does a 5,000 puff difference actually mean in the real world? Look, for a heavy user, that could easily be an entire extra week of vaping. But for someone who vapes more socially, that difference might stretch out over months, making it almost kind of meaningless. The real question you have to ask is about your own personal habits.
Okay, let's move beyond just the numbers. How do these things actually feel and perform day to day? This is where we get into those details that are, a bit more subjective, but incredibly important for the actual user experience.
So Lost Mary brings its killer reputation for inventive, delicious flavors right into the Nera. It also just feels really sleek and substantial in your hand. The Hayati Pro Ultra, on the other hand, gets a ton of praise for its consistency across a really wide range of flavors, and its design is just simple and super ergonomic. And when it comes to power, well, their batteries are pretty much sized to match their puff counts. Lost Mary's is bigger, while Hayati's is known for charging up really, really fast. Of course, none of these cool features matter if the price isn't right. So let's talk about the bottom line. How much are these things going to set you back, and what kind of value are you really getting?
The breakdown here is pretty straightforward, actually. The Hayati Pro Ultra generally comes in at a lower price, so it's positioning itself as the high-value, bang-for-your-buck option. The Lost Mary Nera, well, it usually costs a little more, which makes sense given its higher puff count and that well-known brand legacy. And you know what? This quote really says it all. There is no single best answer here. It truly comes down to balancing your personal budget with what you care about most, whether that's flavor variety or getting the absolute maximum number of puffs.
Okay, deep breath. We've looked at the numbers, the feel, the cost, all of it. Let's pull this all together and get to the final verdict to help you find your perfect match.
Let's make this super simple. If you are all about getting the most bang for your buck and you just want a reliable, no-fuss device that works well, the Hayati Pro Ultra is probably your best bet. But if you're chasing that highest possible puff count and you love the idea of a premium, well-known brand, then the Lost Mary Nera is definitely calling your name.
So the bottom line is this. The Lost Mary Nera, it wins on sheer capacity and that big brand power. The Hayati Pro Ultra, it wins on practicality and just pure value for your money. The best news is, no matter which way you lean, you're getting a top-tier, long-lasting device. You really can't go wrong.
And that leaves us with a final question to chew on, one that goes way beyond just these two devices. In a world that is obsessed with bigger numbers and higher specs, this choice really makes you think, is more always better, or is just right the real winner? Some